What is up, SmackNPie here, and welcome to a follow-up video that we did yesterday on Doki Doki Literature Club and Team Salvato's whole agenda with this franchise and their upcoming games. So today, we are going to specifically talk about what I believe will be their next game, and that is Project Libitina. Now, you guys might be wondering, hold on, Smack, this is no news. We've been knew that Project Libitina is their quote-unquote next game years ago. What are you talking about here? Well, it is kind of sorta everything we know so far, plus the new evidence that we learn from the game DDLC. Plus, I would highly recommend you guys to go and watch my previous video first. I put so much time and effort into it, and then come back here later. So you know what, without wasting any more time, let us begin. So we're gonna start off with Team Salvato. Now, at the end of the last video, I came to the conclusion that Team Salvato has created a simulation in which we have a company named Metaverse Enterprise Solutions, who have real employees such as Paula Miner, Ive, Lib, and others, project managers, engineers, system engineers, creating virtual machines and universes of their own, and they're testing, collecting data, all of that kind of stuff. The main theory behind it is to learn whether they are living in a simulation. That what started there, and then it just got out of hand. One of the emails that was shared or sent by Paula Miner, the project manager from Metaverse Enterprise Solutions, really changed the course of everything, and we're gonna read it right here. The subject was, let's move on, dated December 1st, Sunday, 2019, 12:06 a.m. They said, quote, "We need to have a meeting about shifting our focus a little bit. We have reset first virtual machine how many times now? For real, we've definitely collected as much data as we can from it at this point. We just need to work out with what we have and try to increase the stability of our connection to the second virtual machine. We've obviously gotten spoiled by the ease of access that virtual machine first offered us, but it's just unrealistic for someone in real life to be granted a level of elevation even closer to monitor kernel access. Monica, in other words. If we can't establish a stable connection to the second virtual machine, the upcoming game, then how can we expect to get anywhere when the same scenario inevitably occurs to our own universe?" In short, they're talking about the first game, Doki Doki Literature Club, and the data that they've collected from there. Monica was kind of sort of success for them in a way. They given that entity, Monica, elevated permission and access so that they can keep an eye out on what's going on in that universe. We learned from this paragraph that now they're working on the second virtual machine. There, however, there's no one that have elevated access there because of what happened with the first game, Monica taking control, becoming self-aware, and all of that. So, in the last paragraph, Paula says, "I'm going to spin up a read-only hypervisor that we can use to test different ideas like this. The elevation level will be set to Monitor Adjacent Runtime Level Access, or as community would like to call, Marla, which is now our next either Alyssa or Monica for the second virtual machine. The virtual machine will be named Test VM for now, although the parallel access unit they're building in the VM seems to be called Project Libitina. According to the few logs we have, we can change the name once we actually get a decent picture of it." So this, in my opinion, is both Team Salvato or Dan talking to us, gamers, the community, as well as the actual Paula Miner talking to her employees in Metaverse Enterprise Solution. In short, if you need a reminder, Project Libitina is considered the name of the upcoming game by Team Salvato. This is what we've learned from the first game's original file, specifically Monica.character file, that not only the name is Project Libitina, but also through some files encoding and decoding, there's a website, projectlibitina.com, that has some examination reports, and it reveals a lot, and I mean a lot, about human experimentation and third eye specifically. The logs on that website dates back all the way to January 2004, and it's about a female named Libitina, born on 5th January 2001, with other names redacted. A lot of people came with a lot of theories. Alyssa and Yuri was amongst them. However, it also reveals some scary stuff such as pain tolerance, threat response, elimination tests, most notably that the entities within Project Libitina, or as now we have established, the second virtual machine or the second simulation by Metaverse Solution Enterprise, are going around presenting themselves for third eye, opening their third eye, mashing supernatural force, which is, in my theory, is a result of them realizing that number one, they're in a simulation, and number two, they don't have elevated access because Metaverse never gave any specific entity an elevated access, which caused Metaverse to learn less about the simulation, so they can't get all the data, but they got enough data. However, we also learned from the emails and logs that the entities within the second virtual machine, or Project Libitina in specific, were pooling their limited access to become powerful. Cult-like activities were described amongst those entities, which was then connected to Yuri's Portrait of Markov, the book that she shares with our main character in the first game, where she talks about human limbs and how she's into it, and even main character saying that the character in that book reminds me of her, Yuri. It is no doubt that when the simulation was created and these entities developing self-awareness, emotions, and feelings, they kinda sorta share each other programs and codes, hence you see Monica, Sayori, Yuri sharing some of the attributes here in this first virtual machine, Doki Doki Literature Club, and in the second virtual machine as well. So where this all leads to, ladies and gentlemen, well, Dan Salvato, the creator of Doki Doki Literature Club himself, tweeted before Doki Doki Literature Club Plus that he's finally back to making video games. That's number one. Number two, he said that this year he will release Doki Doki Literature Club Plus, and then he would fully focus on his second game, next visual novel, that was on hold for 2 years. Remember, Project Libitina, their next game, was supposed to come out in 2018, or at least we were supposed to learn about it in 2018. Doki Doki Literature Club Plus was supposed to come out in 2018, with us learning about the next visual novel game, and then leading up to the game's release itself. It is now evident after the merchandise, the new game files in DDLC Plus, and Dan's tweets themselves with Monica's Twitter, which is apparently came out of nowhere and it has been building up for years. It is evident that the next project, Project Libitina, has been changed a lot of times, of course. Characters have been changed. Marla is our next clue for the game. Human experiments are at the core of it. Within. We're not talking about simulation anymore, even though it is still part of the simulation. We're talking going deep into it. Human experiments, cults. That is what the next game or next visual novel will touch upon. How Dan is gonna make that different compared to other games touching these sorts of stuff, such as Outlast is a great example. We're just gonna have to wait and see. And how all of this is gonna play out in a visual novel, now that we know that there's some scary stuff behind it. How is this all gonna pan out? This is just getting interesting, but I would leave you here. Do let me know your thoughts and theories down in those comments below, and also make sure to watch previous video to really understand what's going on here. And before I leave, I'm gonna say it right now. All the Doki Doki Literature Club content, related content, and all the Team Salvato's future stuff, even Project Libitina, all the content, if you want to stay up to date, this is the go-to channel for you guys. Subscribe right now, help me get to 75k, follow my Twitter and start SmackNPie, and I'll see you in the next video.